Hey, coconuts! Welcome to our weekly market updates with me, Rakesh.
Anthony.
Hey, folks, how are we? Post your Chinese New
Uh,
Year's.
uh, Post Chinese New Year blues, man. I don't want to do any work. But then every
Nice.
day
Y'all win
sad,
money or
right?
not?
Huh? No
Yeah.
lah. I didn't even gamble this year. Parenthood changes
Wow.
you, man. Don't do it. Don't do it. Parenthood changes you.
Is it because of the stocks? That's why you don't gamble. You don't want to lose more than you already have, or?
No lah. I gamble in stocks. I don't need to gamble outside anymore.
Fair enough, man.
Gamble
Yeah,
enough.
I gamble enough in stocks. Yeah. All right, coconuts. For this week, as we dive down into our podcast, our live, we have three things to do. One is a quick equity outlook, right? Just basically what's been the last couple of weeks and continuation of the macro that you love so much. We then move into big tech, right? Meta, as we know, had some news. Don't know if you all heard it or living under a rock, but I think we all everything got affected by that
I
one.
think as long as you use any Facebook product, you would have heard it.
Yeah, I think so as well. And of course, lastly, we end off with Amazon. All right.
Yeah.
Jeff, why don't you take us away with the macro?
No, rates are interesting, right? But I just hope that Powell doesn't change the outlook every other week. That's just a bit too much change, right? We want stable, consistent, predictable macro policy, which it hasn't been, and I think that's partially what's causing all of these problems as well.
Mm.
Mhm. Mhm. Wait, sorry. Beat rates are like earnings beats compared to consensus or something else. Okay. Mm. That one recession already lah. I mean that's the fear, right? We raise rates so much, we fight inflation, and we go into recession. Then jalat plus jalat equals more jalat. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
So do you think like what in 6 weeks they're going to do a rate hike? Sorry.
Wait, 6 weeks is March. Oh yeah, I think it's pretty much baked in, right? I mean, I'll be relieved if they give like quarter point rate hike. Okay, good. They know what they're doing. That's good enough.
0.25.
I
Yeah,
mean, if it was
exactly.
like
I'm waiting for a
50,
rate hike.
if it's like 50 basis points, then okay, a bit scary, I guess. To another rate day, and then we see what happens.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
fun.
But
No, but
I
I think
honestly, sorry, guys. I honestly don't believe so, right? Because he mentioned that, and last week we spoke about this in our podcast, was that he was waiting to see the data, trying to get more information before deciding more. So I think it's going to be 25 basis because he doesn't want to shock the entire market as well, right?
I don't know though. I mean, at the end of the day, if the goal is to fight inflation and you fight it by, you know, sending a statement, right? This is the way you send a
Mm.
statement, right? And so if inflation figures don't seem to be coming down, then I don't think we can discount that possibility. Yeah, let's put it that way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right.
Whew.
Wow.
Yeah, so actually, if it's 25, you might see a green day. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah,
lighter than
25. Oh,
normal.
so
Yay!
little. Let's pump. Yeah.
Then pump up. It's insane. No, every month, every month. They still really have 7 rate hikes, right? One every meeting. It's like, wow, also jalan.
Yeah, 7 rate hikes. They only have 6 meetings. What?
You can,
Oh, yeah, that's
maybe they can
true.
do more.
That's true. Yes.
Mm. Mhm.
Mm,
Yep.
mm,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if to the extent that inflation is possibly supply side cost, then the easing of the
mm.
supply chain kind of helps towards that as well, right? Which the Fed can really deal with. So at least that's a potential problem that's getting resolved. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I,
I think it needs to do well for us, lah. So let's
I
hope.
don't
Let's see. Let's get the rate hike.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think to me there's three broad possibilities, right? One is we tighten so much, we go straight into recession because economic growth isn't as good as we think it is, right? It's fragile and
Mm.
that is jalat squared, right? It's jalat jalat. If it's tightening and everything crashes and economic growth slows down, but no recession, and the Fed goes, hey, you know what? Maybe we tighten a bit too fast. We need to slow down, right? That to me feels like a good outcome for stock markets. Not good for real economy, maybe, but good outcome for stock markets, right? Because we are back to money printing, right? And
Mm.
and the last is we have really strong economic growth, and and Powell just I'm super good. I can keep raising rates, and he raises 6 times, 7 times this year, right? That is not going to be very good for our portfolios. Still good for our economy and good for Americans, but I'm not living there, so I don't really care about inflation in America. But at the end of the day, I think that's the three scenarios in my mind, in that
Mm.
sense. So I mean, good economic growth. Okay, that takes the quick stock market recovery maybe a bit off the table. But yeah, I mean, good for people lah. So I guess we should be happy, notwithstanding my net worth being sad.
I think with sorry.
Huh? I'm just tired.
The three scenarios, right? I think doesn't turn
Yeah,
out good for him, right? Except I think scenario 2, except for QE, but he will get
yeah,
affected in the short term. No, but I
yeah.
think
Yeah, I can't
with
seem to think of a good way out of this in the short term. But of course, if somebody wants
no.
to make me happier, please tell me.
I think your scenario 3 though, right? If everything is good and no recession, like you mentioned, I don't think that. I mean, Powell could say he's looking inward and he's looking only at the domestic economy and stuff like this, but that's not the case when he increases rates, right? He's got far-reaching effects indirectly to many countries out there, right? Africa, which is a big one. We have Singapore, right? We all know what the US impact every time they raise rates in Singapore is, and I think that's also another angle that they have to look at as well. Whether they go ahead and they put that as part of their
Yeah,
decision making, that's where is a big question. And I think Jeff has also mentioned that Powell only looks inward, but I think that's the generic line that he has to say. I don't necessarily think that's always the case. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Let's not get into conspiracy theories to make ourselves feel better. Yeah.
I don't think conspiracy theory, but okay, fine. Yes. Either way, thanks for the quick outlook here. Stay defensive. Let's hope for a good rate hike in March of 25 basis points, so it can be a green day, and we can make some money out of it, folks.
But I mean, I think only Jeff will make money. I'm not a short term guy, right? So green, oh good, and then next day rate again, oh bad. That doesn't make a difference. Long term, right? Value, guys, value. Oh, okay.
Man, yeah,
You
I'm
didn't
not
get into
a
conspiracy.
I'm not a short term game either, but I'm hoping that in 3-4 years time, obviously this will be good for us, right?
Yep.
Stick to what we know
Yeah,
and go for it.
definitely.
Actually,
Right.
that's a good point. On that note, let's move on to the next point, right? Meta. As we know, as it's hit the news, all social media, and furthermore, Meta had a massive stock price drop of about 25%, right? They jumped from they fell from 322 to 248, right? In terms of stock price, which is massive for almost $1 trillion company, a 700 or $800 billion company. A 25% stock drop is insane. I think the Wall Street was calling it the largest, or it's the record loss for a day,
Yep.
for a day trading. Was that right, Anthony?
Yeah, I think it was the record decrease in market cap in a day by like multiples.
Yeah,
So
it's insane.
it's not only like it's what 290 billion, I think, in terms of the market cap drop, but it was larger than the last one by like 200 billion or something like that.
Wow.
So that's just the magnitude, right? It's insane.
Absolutely. I think it's also fair to note that even though it's dropped massively, Mark Zuckerberg is actually still in the top 15 richest men in the world, right? So I think as a side note, that's how much wealth he actually has.
The only way he'll drop is if he gets divorced, right? Immediate drop.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and right now, I think one thing to note from their earnings call, however, right, is that revenue actually did increase, but their profits fell. And the part where I believe, and up for discussion here, Anthony and Jefferson, is where Facebook is moving towards, right, the strategic direction. Now, in the earnings call, he was focused a lot on the metaverse, how this new strategy is going to be the revolutionary idea of his new firm. But the truth is, if you look at the numbers, and numbers don't lie, 97% of his revenue, Facebook's revenue, comes from ads, right? And his chat and his talk about the metaverse is a big pivot.
Yep.
Right. I
It's
think
huge.
that's one. It's massive. Yeah. I think before we carry on with a bit more numbers that we have as compared to, like, say, our competitors, what are your thoughts here?
I don't know, right? I think this was something that we covered way back not way back, a few months back in another market update when we were talking about Facebook rebranding the Meta, and my gut feel then was, wait, this is rubbish. I don't want to be part of this as a shareholder, so I sold after that quite quickly.
Mm.
And I think that the same thing still applies. What he's trying to do, he's trying to pivot, which is fine. It's great. But he's trying to pivot to something that's so unknown, so far out, and that is the problem, right? Maybe it works because he has a free cash flow generating machine of ads to support his experimentation for the next 10 years, right? So that could be fine. They could survive, they could win. But at the end of the day, that is a very risky bet to make, right? And as much as I think that he is good at innovating, or his team can be good at innovating, he has foresight and all that. I don't really want to place that bet, right? I think that there's better ways to play that game rather than buying Meta. Yeah.
Good.
IDFA. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Apple just destroys people, man. Seriously. Yep.
Mm. Mm.
No lah, it's a birthday reminder calendar, guys. Come on.
Yes. Fair enough. And I think that's where, Zuckerberg wants to try and pivot. Like, I think for me, the biggest question here, right, is that why isn't he doing this? And this is really just conjecture. So just me asking, right? Why isn't he doing this with another company, a subsidiary of Meta, for example, right? So you keep Facebook, you keep Meta the same, you set up a subsidiary, and then run your metaverse thing that way, right? Or even your Oculus units and stuff like this, right?
But I
Why?
mean, I
Why?
think they are, right. It's just part of the whole Meta platforms holding company, right? So I mean, legally they are separate entities in that sense. It's just reporting under one group. If the question is why doesn't Zuckerberg use his own money to set up a new company outside of the listed holding company,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I guess it's because he wants to leverage all the free cash flow, right? You have so much money coming in, you don't know what to do with it. And it's true that they have had problems dealing with it. With the antitrust issues, they cannot make acquisitions because that's how they would
That's true.
typically have expanded, right? So what do you do? Well, I do a far out bet, which makes sense. I mean, I don't disagree with it. I just go, oh yeah, I just don't want to take part in this as shareholder.
Fair enough. And I think sorry, Jeff.
Yep. Yeah. He can try to leverage of it essentially.
Got it. So
Although
utilize the
thinking
current
about it,
user
he
base.
should have just returned us his free cash flow. He returned shareholders' free cash flow, and then we can choose however we want to invest in like Meta or crypto or metaverse or whatever.
Of course, he's not gonna do that, man.
Why not? I mean, his free cash flow anyway, right? Just give it back, lah. Shareholder equity, which gives him money back, right? And he can do whatever he wants with it, right? And he's the largest shareholder, so But I
Absolutely.
guess as Jeff said, operationally there are advantages. So
For
he doesn't need more money. He would rather have more fame and have more notoriety as the founder of the next generation of the web. So good for him, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, I think just a quick number thing on in form of Facebook ads as well is that is their competitor, the biggest competitor, Google. Their ads in Q4 actually grew 50% more than FB, more than Facebook, right? So they are really pivoting, or rather, they are focused on the ads, and that's really growing for them, and that's really working. So I think it's just good to note, right? Okay, the competitors are growing. Why isn't FB also growing by that much in terms of revenue, ad revenue spend, right? Because they're supposed to be the leaders in this regard. Cool. Yeah. So I think that for me was a bit of a shock, but also trying to understand a bit more why there was a drop. And from our discussion, I definitely can see why there is a drop because people are putting money in there for safeguarding, right? Like you put into the big tech, your Apples, your Amazon, but now Facebook or Meta is into a brand new area, effectively an early adopter phase, when before it was actually a late adopter phase. If you want to look at the startup cycle, coming from a startup guy, and so now it's a risk reward situation, right? And that brings me to my next point. Do you, right, currently for our listeners out there, for our coconuts out there, those that have and unfortunately dropped with Meta, what do you think they should do? What do you think we should do as holders? Believe in
Yeah.
it,
Okay.
hold it.
Okay, so my personal thing, right? Yeah. So after the last episode, the last update, I sold almost all, but I still have like 10 shares, I think. Small portion of my portfolio. And that's
Hmm.
the far out bet, right? Essentially. Because and that kind of reflects the probability that I think will happen. Right. So I don't think they will win, but there is a good chance, a decent not a small chance that they might. So I'll still
Hmm.
hold some exposure. This drops in between. They don't affect me. I don't care. It's the long payout 10 years down the line, and we see his vision come to fruition, and we bow down to the great leader, and that's what the 10 shares are for. So I'm not selling, but equally, I'm not buying because nothing in this report showed that they are. I mean, Oculus is doing decently, but nothing
Hmm.
showed that they are actually going to get there and be the leader in that space, right? They always showing is that they are willing to spend a lot of money on it, and I mean, okay, that tends to mean that you have a chance of winning, but I would like to be a bit more certain before you put real money in.
Got it, Jeff. What are your
Right?
thoughts?
If I want to gamble, I just play crypto. No need to play better.
Mhm.
I think so. How about that?
Around there.
They're a value company now, guys. They're not growth, they're value.
Yeah.
More buybacks. Mm, yep. Yes.
Yes. Mm.
Yeah. And they did it, right? They did it really well.
They did. Yeah. It can still go wrong. Yes. Hmm.
Yes, which is rare, right? I mean, that's what Baba, I guess now Facebook. Yes, so you see the same people buying. Those who bought Baba will buy Facebook now, confirm.
Hmm.
Those who bought Baba at 150 will buy Facebook now. They do not have enough money to buy Baba now because average until cannot average already.
Awesome, folks.
Sorry, I have Baba also, so yeah, that's fine. But yes,
But then you said
I
that
am
means you're
a
gonna buy
fellow Mac
Facebook
owner.
now, lah.
Oh no, no, I bought Baba, but I did not average down, so my average price is like insanely high. It's like I forget already, you know. I just
Yeah,
don't look
yeah,
at my
yeah.
portfolio. You don't see it, you forget it. Then it's not there anymore.
So to 3 weeks from now, Anthony was like, "Hey guys, I bought more Meta shares."
No, but
Too
I
low
might more
already, lah.
Amazon.
Too low.
If I do, I'll tell you. Then it's time you know that you should sell.
Hey, like what? Like Zoom, right? Like Zoom.
Yes, I buy already confirmed drop, so just sell.
Awesome, folks. All right, I think that's really it for me. I think one little anecdote, not really much there, but Peter Thiel, I think just came out today that he's stepping down as Facebook director as well. I do believe this is more the fact that he wants to support Trump and his campaign more than anything else. But yeah, just one little anecdote there for our listeners at Coconuts. Right. I think just as a quick one, if you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he's actually an early investor into Facebook. He was an early investor. He was an investor for Palantir and PayPal, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. He's the PayPal mafia, I think, one of them.
Right. PayPal mafia.
It's
Cool.
insane, these people.
Awesome. Anthony, take us away with the last stock.
Yes, Amazon, something that you could actually buy and watch them drop tonight. But yes, something you could actually buy. Okay, so
Wow.
Amazon, I mean, yeah, they just announced earnings last week as well. And unlike Facebook, right? They announced earnings post market, it went up 15%. Okay, so you dropped 20 something
Nice.
percent. But sadly,
Yes.
nobody ever said if this was the highest ever market cap gain. I don't know if it is. I guess media just likes to report bad news rather than good news. But anyway, moving on. Yeah, so
Bad news spreads
15%.
faster, bro.
Yeah, I know, right? Bad news gets more headlines, and people love to hate on
Yes.
Facebook. Although people should love to hate on Amazon
Yes.
too.
Absolutely.
Oh well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So some headline figures, right? I mean, besides share price, which we really shouldn't care so much about. Business growth, guys. EPS $27 per share, right? Expected was $3. So huge beat. But like 80% of this was driven by Rivian, which we have talked about and talked about the pricing being crazy and all of that. So it's not
Yes.
it's probably not repeatable given the current market climate, right? Then more prosaic things. Net sales, okay, 10% growth year on year. That's pretty much the same as Facebook did, actually, to be honest. But
Yep.
yeah, and 25% over 2 years, which covers the COVID impact. Also kind of about the same as Facebook. So great, but not great. Not too, yeah, I mean good, but not too bad. Not too great. What else was there? They increased the cost of Prime membership to $139 a year instead of 120 in the US. So inflation biting in here, right? And that's about but that's the group itself. I think where I found really interesting, and this is probably why the market reacted that way, right? It's AWS, right? So everybody knows about cloud transition. AWS is the clear market leader in terms of market share, right? Not in terms of tech. I don't know about tech, but market share, clear market leader with Azure and Microsoft, and everybody's moving to cloud. And they are, if you extrapolate their last quarter over a year, right? AWS's annual run rate is 71 billion. Right. So I just want to kind of appreciate that size, right? I mean, 71 billion is it's a lot of money, right? I mean, we think about Amazon, you think about logistics, e-commerce, and all that, but they have this arm called AWS that makes 70% of what Facebook makes in revenue. So part of Amazon is 70% of Facebook, of the whole Facebook, the whole Meta platforms, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the fifth or sixth
giant
largest
that they
company
are.
in the world. So they're a giant company. They are like twice the size of Oracle in terms of revenue. So it's huge and it's growing. It's growing 40% a year.
AWS or Amazon as a
Yeah,
whole?
AWS. So Amazon in total grew
Wow.
10% a year. AWS grew 40. Right?
Wow.
That's like if you are buying Amazon now, you're not buying it for e-com, you're buying it for AWS and the
AWS.
cloud transition. To me, right? That's partially it. Yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on this for now? Before we go
Yeah,
on
I
to
think
the other businesses
the other
of
part. So
Amazon.
AWS is known to be a market leader, if I'm not mistaken, of the cloud services, right? But
Yep.
and from what I remember, they address about 25% of the segment. Is that right?
I think slightly higher, about 30, 40%. Yeah.
30%. So that's actually really, really good, right? Given the fact that they're already a market leader and they technically only own 30% or less than half of that amount, that they can still grow by 40%. You know, what you said, quarter on quarter, year on year? Which
Year
one
on
was
year.
it? 40%? Year on year. Okay, well, quarter on
Yep.
quarter would be insane. Right. So year on year is insane. So I'm sure they're trying new strategies. They're looking at ways to take this sort effectively addressable market from Azure and from Google Cloud. Yeah. And I think that's the foundation of how they started, even right before they even like scrolled up through Prime and all the rest that they're doing now.
Yeah, actually, interestingly, AWS started as an internal tool. So there was Amazon when my e-marketplace is too big. I need a way to host myself properly. And then they came out with AWS, they made it work, and then they started selling AWS. Right. So it was a bit like, shared service, and then okay, it actually makes money. Time to sell it to other people, I guess.
Scale it, package it, make it nice.
Yes. So they started IaaS, which was great. Azure is eating into their market share, but they're still growing year on year by a lot. So we'll see how it goes.
Jeff, what are your thoughts?
Yes. Azure also, by the way. Yeah. Azure, GCP.
Yeah. Yep. Google.
Actually, is there a difference to you?
Lepa, you can just sit back,
You get
relax.
to go like jalan, don't work from home, right? Azure. Yep. Yeah, I think honestly the AWS results were slightly surprising to me because my thought of it was, AWS is more IaaS, right? Infrastructure as a service. So they just provide you the hosting. And Azure and Google Cloud, they were trying to move more to a PaaS structure, right? Or if, I think there's another something AAS, which I forget. But yeah, essentially platform as a service. They do the hosting for you and they sell you more products on top of that. And that seemed, at least from what I heard, to be something that AWS wasn't very good at. I think partially what has helped them is maybe, and we should get somebody to do a stock econ on this because it's really interesting, is maybe just that, they were the first mover in IaaS and cloud hosting, right? So it's a bit of a network effect. If you have spent a year and millions of dollars transitioning to cloud with AWS, you are not going to switch to Azure next year, right? You are going to maybe have a multi-cloud system, but to the extent that you are in the cloud, you will always still have a bit of AWS. So maybe that has helped them there. And if they can, scale properly into PaaS or get more recurring and higher margin revenue from this, that is going to be the way that they push it forward. And they can account for their higher growth and higher margins. So still some risk. They are not the natural winner. Yeah, just in case I sound too bullish. No, there is definitely some risk with AWS. It's just that they have, done very well over the past year.
Got it. So I was just going to say, actually, before you gave your big disclaimer of that, I was going to, so effectively you should tell us all to buy lah, right?
No lah. I mean, I still have, and it's like that, it's so expensive. They should do a stock split, man. 3,000 a share is like, I can buy one share.
It's a lot of money, man.
Yeah. I have like 3-4 shares.
Wow, yeah, it's a lot of money, right? And I mean, who can afford it? Somebody's monthly income is their share
that's
price.
right. They should split like 30 times, and then everybody can buy call options on them, and their share price will grow like Tesla. Come on, guys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, I mean, subs is really like, the whole in thing about recurring revenue, right? You get people to subscribe. People tend to be lazy, like me. I still have a Prime membership for whatever reason, which I don't use, but I'm just lazy to cancel, and they make it difficult to cancel, and it's sticky and all that. So that's great, and it's really interesting, right? So if you take that $20 and you kind of multiply it by the number of subscribers that they have in the US, you kind of get to like a few billion in additional revenue a year, right? And that's insane. Like it's just pure margin. It goes straight to the bottom line. They have done nothing to give you better customer service and all that they wouldn't already have done. It's just a straight price increase that goes from revenue right down to profit. So I think it's a good move. And I mean, it's still cheap for what they give in the US. They give you Prime, they give you Hulu, I think. They give you Prime, sorry, the TV subscription. They give you like 2-day delivery, logistics. It's like a no-brainer to have it, right, for $140 a year. So you can hopefully see them, treat this as a bit more of like trying to monetize the network that they already have, and also to increase their margins, because e-com is not very good margins. So, and they are investing so heavily in all the other aspects. It's just something that they can do to boost their margins slightly and make it look a bit better lah.
Which era are you living in? Yeah. Because like they do instant like 2 hours delivery as well. Same day delivery. Not
No,
just
I
2
think
days
they canceled
anymore.
that for all parts of the US.
Yeah, but I mean like even in Singapore they do have like 2 hours delivery.
Yeah, and
No, my Amazon card takes like a day. Like Panda Mart gives me 2 hours, but my Amazon Singapore gives me like a day, and then if I ship from US, there's like 2-3 days. Which is
okay.
great.
No,
I don't mind waiting for this.
So like Singapore, I mean, yeah, for us here, what's it, $2.99, I think, to subscribe?
Yeah.
So that's really, really cheap. That's per month.
Yeah.
And you don't only get the e-commerce, you get of course, you got the Prime for 2-hour delivery. You also get Prime Video, right? Which
Yes.
In all fairness, I think they can do a bit more there. They're trying to do a bit more there as well with MGM Grand and stuff. But I think it's an area that they are looking to improve on, right? Is that right, Anthony? Because they are looking at investing in this area and try and compete with Netflix and Apple Plus and stuff.
I don't know, right? I think of Amazon and TV, I just think of failures. in a sense that they had the TV stake that failed, the Amazon Fire that failed. They just aren't good
Mm,
at this, and they don't seem to be investing that much in terms of programming compared to your Netflix, your Disney.
mm.
They're just burning money and throwing money at new content, right? Amazon just goes, oh, I have Jack Ryan, which I guess is quite nice, and I have
Actually, actually
I
on
don't
that
know.
front, yeah, like in they're not very big in the Western side, but I know they're massive in India. So all the like Indian movies, Bollywood, Hollywood, it's massive. Everyone in India has Amazon Prime because the movies go out there
Yeah.
first
That
over
explains the
everything else.
recommendations they give to me.
Right.
Like I open
Okay.
Amazon Prime and it's like I scroll after a few minutes like, oh, Indian shows. Okay, cool. But I
Yeah.
don't watch it. So yeah, okay, I guess that explains it. But maybe
Yeah,
you
they're
could be
massive.
right, right? It's just a difference in geographic focus. Right? They
Mm,
do a bit in the US, which we tend to consume more of the media of, and they could have all these, continental big sublocations that we are not that aware of because we just don't see unless you're Rakesh to tell you.
right. Yeah, man,
Actually, I
it's actually
see.
quite insane.
Actually, I see this whole Amazon TV thing, like Prime, right, in a different angle. Like how
Mm,
when you subscribe Prime, in some sense, you get the whole fast delivery. You have the whole slew of other services as well, and like this whole TV thing just adds on to like just
Yeah.
incentivize you to just come on board. The cost is so low for them. If anything, you buy the show, it's just one off cost. Stream it no matter how many times people watch it. Bollywood shows or whatever trashy shows they have on board, right? Whether or not you watch it, it's just one cost to them. It doesn't really matter. But
mm.
when
Yeah,
there's a
and
good
hosting is
show,
free cost for AWS.
exactly.
Yeah,
So if there's like,
exactly.
yeah, so if you have a show that's good, then you get more people that come on board. Happy days for them. If there's nothing, then people are just subscribing because it's free in that sense. I'm just there for the other services. So I think
Yeah.
it's kind of smart. It's a form of incentive. Yeah.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. They are trying to buy MGM for like 9 billion or something, which is, I guess, small
I thought they
potatoes
bought
compared.
already.
Oh, haven't
Yeah.
closed yet.
Haven't closed. Okay.
So it's antitrust and all those like regulatory filings that are still being done, I think. Yeah.
Got it.
So
Got it.
sign never close. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, maybe
Got
maybe
it.
that's the next big push, right, for their content, and because of that they get more Prime subscribers at a higher price, and ta-da, you get more money.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. I think it's going to be interesting to see the play that they make in 2022, 2023 in this regard, the e-commerce and the video aspect. I don't know if this is their focus. Obviously, as we've mentioned, AWS is scaling like crazy. I think if you're in sales and you haven't, I got reached out by AWS as well. Like they're really just hiring everyone all over the world is what I can see. So it's quite intense. I'm excited to see where Amazon is going to go. So it's a big buy for you
I
then.
mean, even I got tapped up for AWS, and I'm like, doing infrastructure and in legal, which is like completely different. So yeah,
Nice.
quite odd. But I look at their pay package, I'm like, no, thank you, bye bye.
Okay.
No, they don't pay legal super well, unfortunately. But it would be a nice company to try.
Right. Yeah.
Tell
it's good
them
pay
you
resume.
got
Yeah.
three equity with them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wavy-
Do you know who's your shareholder?
Yeah. Yeah.
my 3 share back holding is terrible.
All right, coconuts. Hope you all had a good episode with us. Learn a few things with Meta, Amazon, and of course a quick macro update. We're signing off for this week, and we can't wait to see you next week. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you guys.